Kelly Brough, President and CEO of the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for coming on the Business Brief.
Thanks for having us.
Kelly, now the Chamber's goal is to ensure that Colorado is and remains the best place to do business. That's a job that never stops. We're kind of stumbling through this once in 100-year pandemic. Many businesses are pressed like never before with government restrictions and, frankly, low consumer confidence. But there are increasingly signs that the recovery may be in its early days and that 2021 may in fact be a better year. During the recent business legislative preview that you all had at the Denver Chamber, you called this a moment of opportunity. How so?
Yeah, I really appreciate the question, Ryan. I think you have to go back to the last 10 years to understand what's happened in our region. In the last 10 years, the last 5, we've been identified as the #1 economy in the nation by US News and World Report. In the last 10, what has been, Brookings Institute did this study, and what they found is we're the only large metro of the 100 largest metros in the United States who has been able to close some of the racial disparities we see, specifically around earnings and employment, while at the same time improving the standard of living and wages throughout our region. So as we put people back to work, and there's 322,000 Coloradans on unemployment right now, as we put people back to work, we want to build off that past success to close the racial and gender disparities we see and to get people back into really good jobs.
I love it. Now, during your business legislative preview, both state Senate and House Democrats and Republicans have both stated a focus on recovery as their top priority. So you all represent and are a voice for Colorado's business community. What is the top legislative issue for the business community this year?
Yeah, Ryan, this is really, if we learned anything in the pandemic, what we should have all learned, if it hurts an employer, then that means they can't keep employees on payroll, and it's hurting employees. And so we have got to think about what are policies that help or don't add to the burden of employers. And that is top priority for everybody, because getting people back to work means don't add to those costs. And in some of our industries, they were decimated. They do not have resources. And the last thing I'll mention here is a huge percentage, over half of our workforce works for companies that are very small. So small employers are particularly impacted by those kind of policies. We really need to make sure we're not adding to the burden for employers to keep employees on payroll or bring them back into payroll.
A big part of that is having a legislature that works together, that works with the governor's office, that works with the business community to actually get stuff done. We're living through some tremendously divisive times, Kelly. So how do they do that?
Yeah, working together is key. What we would argue is you really need to bring in those who are impacted by any policies you're considering so you can understand the consequences. Often they may not be intended by you, but there's consequences to those policies. So I think the way to do it is, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're talking to each other. You're talking to the private sector, nonprofit sector. These are employers who are impacted by those policies. Bring them in early and give us a chance to share with you their impact. Don't do things in a vacuum.
So have those conversations that are needed to really understand the issues and how we can move forward in a truly nonpartisan, if you will, way to actually get things done that works for hopefully most people.
Absolutely.
There's going to be, I think, due to the economy, a down economy, a lot of shortfalls in funding and needs for additional money to fund various priorities and services that the state is responsible for. What's the business community's message on taxes, especially during this recovery?
Yeah, I mean, whether you're an employer or an employee, we know people don't have a lot of extra resources hanging around. And so, not asking employers and their employees to pay more right now is key. And so we really are asking, don't make policy changes that result in people having to pay more, because our fear is it will simply result in more job loss. We've had huge numbers of Coloradans have to file for unemployment in 2020. We do not want to repeat. And as I mentioned, we have hundreds, 322,000 today who still need jobs. We need to get them back to work. And frankly, that'll increase tax revenue for everybody, putting them back to work more effectively, we believe, than trying to nickel and dime everybody through such a challenging time.
Kelly, I couldn't agree more. With so many Coloradans looking for a better job and so many small businesses working to keep their doors open, we do need a legislature that works together with our business community. Kelly Brough with the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, thank you. Wishing you, the team, and your members the very best in the year ahead.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. 2021 has to be better.